What's up, guys? Let's see. Am I coming in clear? Let's see. Am I coming in clear? There we go. What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome back. It's me, He-Bot. I want to do a quick video talking about the whole situation I heard about today with Sony purchasing EVO alongside the RTS company, which I really don't know who they are, but I think it was a joint acquisition where it's 50-50 percentage of ownership. And I don't understand why people get all happy and teary-eyed over something like this, because to be honest, I don't see how it makes any sense for Sony to acquire something like EVO, even though I have a very funny suspicion why, but I'll tell you, I'll get more into that, with the video as I go along. As far as building a brand or building better stakes for, PlayStation 5, their console, because EVO is a tournament of fighting games. And they said, because we have a lot of history of a lot of people playing fighting games on our platform over any other console, right? A lot of the fighters, they like to play them on PlayStation. And then I'm like, wait a second, but a lot of the reasons why a lot of fighting games are on PlayStation is because they're Japanese developers and published. They're Japanese developed and published, right? Like Arc System Works stuff, even Capcom Street Fighter. And they do not bring it to no other console. Even though Sony don't own the IP, even so Sony doesn't publish or pay for exclusivity. Unlike the case with Street Fighter, which that's an exception, but they didn't. King of Fighters, they didn't pay for that. You know what I mean? And I want to say my real reasoning why I think Sony's doing this is because they want to keep relevance in spaces that, in as many spaces as they possibly can, because it's harder for them to make acquisitions like more studios, right? So they figured, okay, well, let's just, let's buy certain things like Crunchyroll. And I'm like, Crunchyroll is doing well all by itself. But what does Crunchyroll do? It houses nothing but anime, right? And it does it through streaming with ads, right? So the only sole purpose and logic reasoning I can think about them doing that is because if they know they own Crunchyroll, which is what houses a lot or most animes, is so that they can have a stranglehold in the market, or even with these publishers and developers and movie creators that create anime and publish it, whether they're from, which a lot of them come from Japan and whatnot, to keep anime games only on PlayStation's consoles, like Tokyo Ghoul, like Fist of North Star, like Gungrave, games that never see the light of day ever on Xbox, but yet they always make games and make sure they come out on PlayStation, right? And that is kind of where the only angle I see makes sense, because then they figure, well, if you don't leave these IPs of these games what you're making, animes for exclusives only on PlayStation, then we won't have them on Crunchyroll, and you won't have nowhere to stream them or have them stream, or people could go and get them unless they go buy it from the store, which in a lot of cases people don't do because they're very expensive and not a lot of places carry them. So my whole thought process between the EVO is, well, it's something that right now is in jeopardy because of the pandemic. It hasn't really been able to house any tournaments publicly because of people, being in the pandemic and we having to be careful and things like that. So it's been suspended. And I don't know if it's been suspended for this year, but I know it was last year. And I'm saying to myself, well, first of all, none of their games that are fighting games that run online run better than they do on the Xbox or PC for that matter, because the PC and the Xbox have better online ecosystem and structure compared to their services. They don't run at better quality, right? And again, the only reason why they have more people playing games that are fighters on their console is because they're put there on their console by these publishers and developers that are predominantly Japanese. And again, your people want to claim the idea or act like there's no conspiracy theory, that there's no bias, there's no nationalistic thought process, but the proof is always there. So by them making sure they force feed the idea that they're the ones that run EVO, the most popular tournament in the world with fighters, that people are going to gravitate and make sure that they choose to hold all these tournaments, developers and companies and publishers themselves, on PlayStation consoles. Meaning, even though they're saying it's an open platform, right, that more than likely it'll give them the upper hand and people just want to play it and host and house those tournaments on the PlayStation 5 rather than the Xbox or the Switch, right? Because they know, as far as with the Xbox, they don't have a winning chance because their online ecosystem is not better and the game's not going to run better than the Series X. And at the same time, that'll make companies like Arc System Works, which they've already been doing it, or companies like, SNK that left King of Fighters, for example, just to give you guys an example, exclusive to the PlayStation console. Because they know that they own the tournament, that it's the most popular event in the world, when it comes to fighting tournaments and other stuff like that, but mainly fighting. And that way that makes sure that they'll keep Guilty Gear only on PlayStation and never come to Xbox. That's the only angle where I'm seeing it from. And shout outs to Mr. 100. Go check his channel out. Because I saw he had set up a live stream talking about it. I don't know if he did it because I was watching the Justice League Zack Snyder movie with my family. So I didn't get no interruptions. But that's what I suspect. Because it's just too funny to me. Because no way, shape, or form the EVO tournament and owning the EVO tournament is that going to help the PlayStation console as a brand as far as getting more new games developers or owning new developers under your umbrella. I don't see that. I don't get it. It's just for self-preservation and advertisement to make sure they have the upper hand in the tournament because they run it. Even though RTS, I don't know if they have to do with video games or they're another company or entity, but them being, so popular with the casuals, make sure that you run these games only and specifically or first on PS5 in the tournaments instead of Xbox or instead of PC or instead of Nintendo Switch for that matter. Obviously, unless they're like the Switch, Smash Brothers, you can't because it only exists on Nintendo, or Killer Instinct, it only exists on Xbox and PC, but mainly they'll host it on the Xbox. And you guys, you guys may not want to call it out, but that's what I see. And Sony always makes these type of moves, never to help the industry move forward. It's always for their own self-preservation. That's it. Their own benefit. Whatever they can get out of it to make them look good or make them look better in the eyes of the casuals. Because hardcore people don't buy into the bullshit. And then you get praise them for it, like it's gonna do something for the company when it's not gonna do anything. What is it gonna do? I would love to know what is it gonna do other than to convince or maybe shoehorn these developers that make these games. I'm just gonna keep it on the PlayStation 5 because they host a tournament. It's the biggest event for fighting games, and they're the ones that, and people are playing it there. Of course, people are only going to play Guilty Gear or King of Fighters, for example, or Street Fighter 5, the new one, or the newest one, on PlayStation 5. Because it's only there. It's only exclusive there. It's not exclusive on Xbox. It's not available on Nintendo. No. On the Switch, it's only on PlayStation 5. That logic is so retarded. Oh, because we dominate, because more people play on our console. Of course they do. when it comes to fighters, because y'all have accessibility to all the fighters without having to even work to have it on your console. They just put it on there and that's it. These developers and these publishers, whether it's SNK with King of Fighters, Capcom with Street Fighter, and Arc System with Guilty Gear or even Blaze Blue. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. The only ones you see on Xbox is Mortal Kombat, right? All the time. Obviously Killer Instincts, because they own it. And then things like maybe Samurai Showdown. And that's from SNK. But that's because Samurai Showdown is not as popular, let's say, as, King of Fighters. So they figure, well, let's give them Samurai Showdown on the Xbox and Nintendo Switch, because a lot of people don't play it. Because not so much people play it, and we need to get as much audience as we can for these games. But when it comes to, King of Fighters, I'll leave it there for exclusive because that'll bring the attraction of the audience to buy a console or buy it over there before anywhere else because it's the leading platform or because they have the perception. And that's a problem. And us guys that are Xbox fans, we should be doing more videos calling it out and calling out the BS because that is not cool. They don't own the license for Street Fighter even if they funded the last game. Okay? They own the license for King of Fighters. They don't own the license for Guilty Gear. They don't own the license for Blaze Blue. And those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Injustice, but that's not there. That's multiplat. Like Marvel vs. Capcom, that's multiplat. So that's my theory on why they decided to go 50-50 from what I heard, right, and what I was reading, to purchase EVO. Because it don't make no sense. Why would you do that for the PlayStation brand other than to squeeze play developers to keeping those games in the future exclusive to your console because you're the owner of the world's most biggest tournament for fighters, so they can host the fighting tournament on PlayStation consoles. That's it. So they can make all the money from the advertisement and what the tournaments brings from the people. That's all they're worrying about. Self-preservation, not you as a fan and gamers. Leave a thumbs up if you liked the video. Leave a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you agree with me, if you don't, if you thinking way too much about it. It's just my thoughts. I was thinking about it, like, what? That don't make no sense. This acquisition, just like Crunchyroll, makes no sense for PlayStation as a brand. It really doesn't. And if they want to use that like I said, they want to use the idea that, because more people play fighting games on PlayStation, again, it's because those games are only on your console. Even though you don't own them. They're put there by what? Japanese developers, because Square Enix, SNK, and obviously Capcom, they're all Japanese. All of them. And I said Street Fighter is the only one that you can really kind of give it an excuse because it's a different scenario. But everybody else, no. Like I said, guys, let me know what you think. Share this video with someone you think might like it. And as always, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you stopping by. If you like my content and you subscribe, thank you so much. I'm very humbled because I know you didn't have to, but since you did, I consider you now part of my family. And as always, you can find me on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram under C_respect on Instagram and He-Bot Powerful Gamer on Twitter. And if you guys ever want to hit me up on DMs to make any donations that you would like me to do on my channel for anything video game related, figure related, pop culture, it would be my honor. Just hit me up on the DM on social and we'll work out the particulars. And if you guys ever want to help me out in any way, shape, or form with my channel, because I don't have a lot of subs, no super chats. I have a small Patreon I have set up and things of that nature, and you guys would like to help me out from the kindness of your heart, you know how to do it. It's all down in the description below. Guys, I'll see you in the next one. Xbox for life, like a sickness that can't be cured. That's my saying. That's my slogan. Don't get triggered, people. It's all in gaming. It's all in good fun. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.